Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What is going on, good people? For those of you who were not on the channel earlier today, welcome. It's been an exciting day around Pittsburgh sports, and was thinking about how the show was going to go tonight. Figured we were going to talk about last night's Super Bowl as a whole. We will talk about that a little bit. I'll also talk about the Olympics going on. We got a few Pittsburgh Penguins that are now over in Italy about to represent their country in the sport of ice hockey. But instead, all of that got thrown out the window at about 8:30 this morning because the Pittsburgh Pirates, they dropped some of their biggest news of the offseason, saving one last big splash before spring training begins here in quick fashion. So that was a fun start to the day here on the channel. We will get into that big Pirates news for those of you who may not know about that here to kick off the show in a matter of minutes. After that, we will talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We will start off by talking about a few things that went on at last night's Super Bowl, but over the weekend as a whole, a lot of media personalities all clumped into one space there at the Super Bowl. We did get some news about the possible return of a Pittsburgh Steeler from last year, and could one other Pittsburgh Steeler be hinting at retirement? Both of those people I'm referring to are veterans of the team. Some would say the top two leaders on the team, so we will get into that as well. Afterwards, we will get into a little bit of extra Pittsburgh sports news, a little sprinkling of extra stories surrounding all three Pittsburgh professional sports teams. That is how this jam-packed Monday here on the channel will start off, and then we will get into your comments along the way as well. For those of you new here to the channel, before we officially get things kicked off here, if you are new to the channel, on your way in, please hit that like button, share this live stream, and in the comment section, any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, please, by all means, get those in there. I appreciate when you folks do that. I enjoy interacting with you. Also, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss a live stream or video again. Go check out the channel on the following social media platforms at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60, where we try to jam-pack all the news of the day, or at least the most important news topics of the day, into 60 seconds or less. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are going to kick off the official weekday live stream for SCSR 60, the official Monday live stream, with what we started with this morning. About 8:30-ish this morning, we got breaking news. We went live for it as soon as possible. The Pittsburgh Pirates making one of their biggest splashes of the offseason. We thought Brandon Lau was a big splash. We liked that deal. We also thought the same thing about signing Ryan O'Hearn to a multi-year deal. And then the Bucs doing something that they have not done in a while, acquiring legit right side of the plate power. And they did that, signing designated hitter, established designated hitter, a seasoned veteran, Marcell Ozuna, to a 1-year, $12 million deal. There have been mixed reviews on this signing, but I will be the one to say I love it. Getting a guy like this, Ozuna, a dude with some serious thump from the right side of the plate. The Bucs haven't had one of these guys in quite some time, and it completes, in my opinion, the goal that was clearly set out, laid out for general manager Ben Cherington this offseason. You need to improve the offense tenfold, and you needed to add at least 2, ideally 3 major league bats, proven major league bats, to this Pirates lineup. They got the first 2 out of the way before Christmas in Lau and O'Hearn. Took them about 2 months to get the second one done, but the third one done. That comes today in the form of Marcell Ozuna. It is a 1-year, $12 million deal for Ozuna. The other details of the deal, per Jeff Passan, is that it does come with a 2027 mutual option between Ozuna and the Buccos. The deal will pay $10.5 million to Ozuna this year with a $16 million option that has a $1.5 million buyout. Ozuna is down season last year for the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, who I think altogether as a team as a whole underachieved massively. They were thought to be, locks for the playoffs among those teams, and then they really failed spectacularly, just like the Pirates last year. But Ozuna last year, nearly 500 at-bats, had a .232 batting average, 21 home runs, 68 RBIs, a .755 OPS for Ozuna. Now, he was dealing, from reports out there, with a hip injury at portions of last season. So, I mean, hip injury for a guy being a designated hitter, it's all about the hips in your swing. I'm sure that affected him in more ways than one. It affected his swing, affected the power that he gets on the baseball. So maybe that does factor into him having a down season. And it's crazy that I say that it was a down season for Ozuna, because if you were to put that production in the Pirates lineup last season, he would have led the Pirates in home runs, and probably by a substantial amount. So a down season for Ozuna probably would have made him look like Barry Bonds or Willie Stargell in the Pirates lineup from last year. But if that hip is right, which we are all hoping that it is so, this deal is pending a physical. So I would like to think the Pirates are going to have done all of their homework on Ozuna's hip injury. You get Ozuna right, I think he has a damn good chance of being right back to where he was just 2-3 years ago. The 2023 season, Ozuna, 40 home runs, a .904 OPS. 2024, 39 home runs, just one home run less, and a better OPS of .924. So some may argue he got better from 2023 to 2024. I think he was getting some Silver Slugger award nominations, might have even won one. Also MVP. Maybe that was on his radar a little bit. Outstanding production through from 2023 to 24 with the Braves. Took a step back last year, but hey, I mean, 79 home runs going back 2 to 3 years ago. Also over 7.5 wins above replacement. Even if he took a step down and he had half of the production he had, it's still a damn good get for the Pittsburgh Pirates as a whole. Over his 13 MLB seasons, Ozuna, 296 homers, nearly 1,000 RBIs, coming in at 948. He has another Ozuna-like season. He will smash the 1,000 RBI mark with flying colors. So all in all, I think it's a good get for the Pirates. I'm interested to hear more on what you guys think. You chimed in pretty well this morning with the breaking news of this acquisition. It does come with some positives and negatives. I do, of course, want to look at the positives. This is a good get for the Pirates. It's a positive day. They added a third legit major league bat to this lineup that they did not have last season. So starting with the positives, does this complete the offseason? Like I said a moment ago, the additions of this offseason so far up to this point, I don't think the Pirates are done. They're at least going to add another pitcher, if I had to guess. So far, the additions this offseason for the Pirates, they, of course, that 3-team trade that brought Brandon Lau, Jake Mangum, and Mason Montgomery here to Pittsburgh. Parts of those deals, Mangum, 29 years old, rotational outfielder. You can put him at all three spots in the outfield, and he will do well with the glove, bat, TBD, but we'll see. Mason Montgomery, still young, 25-year-old left-hander who can throw heat. And then Brandon Lau, 31 years old, all-star last year. I believe hit 31 home runs as the second baseman of the Tampa Bay Rays. You brought him and those other two in, and you only gave up Mike Burrows. You then signed Ryan O'Hearn, first multi-year free agent signing since Ivan Nova in 2016. He, 32 years old, you brought him in. He's got home run potential and power as well from the left side of the plate. Gregory Soto, late inning, left-handed reliever out of the pen. I think you can slot him in anywhere between the 6th and 8th inning of when you would see Gregory Soto in a game. They just the other day signed another pitcher, Jose Urquidy, 30-year-old looking to be a reclamation project, whether it's a bullpen spot or a starting rotation spot for him. It's going to be hard for him to get into the rotation, but you polish him up the right way. I think he could be serviceable for this team. Justinson Garcia, 23-year-old, got him from Boston, top 3 prospect in the Red Sox system. You only gave up Johan Oviedo and a few minor leaguers for him. That's a solid potential. Can you tap into it? Addition for the Bucs. And then this one, the latest, Marcell Ozuna, 35 years old, not getting any younger, but hey, the power, I think that's the last thing to go in terms of skills and traits of a ball player. So he still has that pop at 35 years old. Marcell Ozuna, people call him the bear or a tank out there at the plate. Hopefully he reforms into that 2023-2024 form here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And these additions, I mean, just went all over them here. Not really a single complaint about any of them. I mean, all acquisitions, major league acquisitions here for the Pirates, they are outstanding in my book. The only one that you can maybe throw is to why the hell did they get this guy, Jose Urquidy, 30 years old, and he's a reclamation project. There was times over this rebuild, the 6-year rebuild, where that would be like one of the main additions of the offseason. Instead, this guy is a bottom of the barrel. If you get him back into form, fine. If you don't, it's not like your season depends on it, unlike other off seasons here. So all in all, solid off season for the Bucs. And if this is the last major move that they do, I will consider it a success for general manager Ben Cherington and company, especially with the additions of their 3 legit major league bats that they needed. Lau, O'Hearn, Ozuna, 69 home runs last year between those 3, and now you can slot them in to the Buccos lineup in an instant. Some other positives to this deal. This deal for Ozuna, 1 year, $12 million, really getting paid 10.5 with incentives, I'm sure. It does now take the Pirates payroll up above $100 million. I believe the Bucs are sitting at the 101 or 102 mark right now in terms of payroll. The projected payroll is going to land somewhere in between the $108 million payroll, assuming that they make another signing or that they don't shed salary via trade. And the last positive here with this signing here for the Pirates with adding Ozuna here today is that you look at the starting lineup from last season and compare it to what could be the starting lineup this season. Improvements across the board, in my opinion. Last year, starting opening day roster for the Pirates, you were looking at Tommy Pham in left field, Brian Reynolds in right field, O'Neal Cruz in center field, Joey Bart catching, Andrew McCutchen DH, Nick Gonzalez at second base, Endy Rodriguez at first base, Ke'Bryan Hayes at third base, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa as your shortstop. And then you take that lineup, you look at what could be this year's opening day lineup. Let's just go position by position. Right field and center field, Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, those stay the same. Tommy Pham, compared to what some are projecting to be the Pirates opening day left fielder, Ryan O'Hearn. I mean, Pham came up late in the season, started hitting well once he got his eyes fixed. His defense also got him some Gold Glove recognition as a potential winner. But, I mean, Ryan O'Hearn, he's a guy that I doubt is going to go into many cavernous slumps, just like what Tommy Pham had at the beginning of last season. So in terms of bat, we're just talking about offense here, 1 through 9. You got to give O'Hearn the edge over Pham there. Catcher, Joey Bart, that remains the same right now. He and Henry Davis. We'll see if Bart is involved in some sort of trade. Rumors around him have been circulating a little bit. Designated hitter, Andrew McCutchen to Marcell Ozuna. We'll get into Kutch here in a moment, but hate to say it, Kutch, love you. Ozuna, 4 years younger, tons of pop that Kutch hasn't had in quite some time. That's an easy upgrade. And then the infield, Spencer Horwitz, still your first baseman right now. Second base, you go from Nick Gonzalez to Brandon Lau. You go from Gonzalez, who's approaching or should be entering into the prime of his career right now, still waiting to see that first round, what was it, 7th overall? Gonzalez was drafted. We're still waiting for him to tap into that full potential, and he just has not done it yet. Hopefully he does this season in some way, shape, or form, now that some pressure is going to be off of him from needing, tons and tons of production. You go from Gonzalez to Lau, who hit 31 home runs. That's an upgrade. Shortstop, IKF. He is gone. Whether it's Jared Triolo or a Nick Gonzalez, I mean, you can argue if they're upgrades over a bat of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I mean, didn't really do much in the power department, but did have a solid on-base percentage, did IKF. What I'm hoping the ideal replacement is for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is one, Connor Griffin. You all of a sudden replace a guy that should be a rotational infield guy with the top prospect in baseball, one of the highly touted prospects in baseball, going from IKF to Connor Griffin. That is an easy upgrade. And then the last one, third base here. You replace Ke'Bryan Hayes with Jared Triolo. Tell me, Jekyll is Hyde, Hyde is Jekyll in that, scenario. Both Gold Glove third baseman, Platinum Glove candidates with little to no bat to speak of. I'd give Triolo a little bit of an upgrade in the bat department over one Ke'Bryan Hayes, but that's an upgrade. You can make an argument. That's what I'm getting at here in this last positive of this Ozuna trade, in this Ozuna signing, is that you add him now, you add O'Hearn, you add Lau 1 through 9. You compare the potential opening day roster for the Bucs to last year's opening day roster, upgrades, if not similar cast of characters across the board. You can only see the positives from a lineup perspective and what the Bucs are going to be walking into the season with, and think, hey, maybe these 2-1, 3-2 games that we lost so many times last season, maybe now instead we are winning those games 3-2, 4-2, something like that. Bucs just needed in most of their games last year, with how good the pitching staff was, they just needed 3 to 4 runs a night. And it felt like pulling teeth to even get them to 2 sometimes. Now you add in these guys, 69 home runs combined between the 3, upgrades all around. And you can't help but smile when you see that. Where the negatives come in here, there is a few negatives to this Ozuna signing, but I don't think they are as massive as what some people make out to be. The first negative that everyone immediately goes to when Ozuna signed today is that this is the end of the Andrew McCutchen era in Pittsburgh. Ozuna, 35 years old, at this stage in his career, strictly a designated hitter. Matter of fact, I think he was that for the past 2-3 years down in Atlanta. The days of him playing left field, right field are well behind him. So Ozuna, strictly a DH. That then fills that hole that Andrew McCutchen has occupied the past 3 years, and it comes to a halt. The McCutchen era in Pittsburgh came back for 1 year. Thankfully, it got stretched out into a 3-year reunion tour for McCutchen. And this offseason, you didn't want to rule it out, but you had that feeling that McCutchen wasn't going to be back with the Pirates. I mean, it's usually around this time in the offseason that you do see a deal with Kutch get done. Your typical 1 year, $5 million deal, veteran coming back to his beloved team. But it felt like, as the offseason went on and the Pirates were in on these bigger names, Kyle Schwarber, Okamoto, Valdez, Suarez, they didn't land any of them, but felt like the Pirates were going to be shopping in a different aisle than what Andrew McCutchen at this stage in his career is located. Kutch even, online has said some things like, wish I could have been at Pirates Fest, and, calling out some of the doubters that he could make a return and be himself in Pittsburgh. McCutch just yesterday, Kutch posted a video with a song that was like, the lyrics were cryptic, saying, "Am I washed up? Am I holding on a dream that has already passed?" Stuff like that, showing training videos and mixed with his past past accomplishments, all of his career awards that he's won and stuff like that. And even now, by the way, McCutchen, he has changed his Twitter profile picture. No more is Andrew McCutchen in a Pirates uniform on his Twitter. Instead, it is this right here, just a silhouette of McCutchen back when he had the dreads, swinging a bat. And here's that video I was talking about of Kutch. Very cryptic post from him. It's kind of weird seeing it. A mix of look at my past accomplishments and do I have enough, stuff like that. So, it does bring to an end the Andrew McCutchen era. I think even Ken Rosenthal and other insiders have said the same thing. But hey, love Kutch. Do. Love Andrew McCutchen. He was my generation's, Barry Bonds, Willie Stargell. He was pretty much the lone guy we had to hold on to as an icon here and a legend for this franchise. And now it comes to an end. But, you rather see McCutchen after the down season he had last year by what we come to expect from him. Still best hitter on the team, top 3 at least, but terrible offense. He was a component of that. Rather let him go now than, say bring him back and have him look like a shell of himself up there on the plate. I'm hoping that if he does continue playing, he looks good, because I would hate that for him to, completely fall off the proverbial cliff here somewhere else. But sucks that the era of Andrew McCutchen comes to an end, but it felt like it needed to happen for this team to truly move forward. Bringing McCutchen back 3 years ago, team was still clearly in the midst of a rebuild. It's great to have that icon there to help keep the fans' morale up, and now it's time to win, and no favors can be cut for anybody here when it's a win or nothing season like what the Pirates have put out there. Also, like I said, Ozuna, 35 years old, 4 years younger than Andrew McCutchen. I'm sure that factored into it as well. Speaking of Ken Rosenthal, the MLB insider, I cited a moment ago, this Marcell Ozuna signing. I think it is the last big addition that the Pirates are going to make. I had that feeling. Rosenthal confirmed it on his Foul Territory podcast today, saying that the Pirates are probably at their payroll limit, if not close to it, in terms of, adding a big-time third baseman like an Isaac Paredes, who the Pirates were reported as looking to trade for this weekend, and could be still. I don't know, but I doubt he gets moved now, especially to Pittsburgh. Ooh, excuse me. The Pirates are at their payroll limit right now. I agree with that. I think that is the case, a little over $100 million. Maybe they have a couple other million lying around for a starting pitcher, but I'm not expecting another big bat to be added here. I would love for one too, but it does not seem to be the case at this moment, unless it's a trade and salary is going out to cancel out the salary that would come in. The last few things here on, some negatives I'm seeing out there for this Paredes signing. Alex Stumpf, MLB.com. We mentioned this earlier on the live stream this morning. His bat speed did drop down a little bit, and his slugging percentage went down by 100 points. So it does seem like, Ozuna did take a bit of a decline last year. But again, how much of that is age? How much of that is the hip injury? I'd like to think that it is the hip injury, because I don't think a guy that, hit 40 home runs and had a high slugging percentage, and all of a sudden he just falls off the next year without any sort of external factor playing a role other than just his play. So I like to think that's more of the injury than anything as to why some of his stats took a dip. And also, people, I think, where they really liked McCutchen, consummate professional, great member of the community, stuff like that. Ozuna, I mean, he does come with some baggage, some off the field issues going back, 4 years ago, some domestic stuff, some DUI stuff. But I do want to say that I think Ozuna maybe did turn a leaf. We've heard from multiple people who cover the Braves say that in the clubhouse, Ozuna is a respectful person that loves helping his teammates, especially those Dominican teammates. I think that could be very useful for a guy like Oneil Cruz, who is still looking to tap into his full potential. He had not a caretaker, but a mentor in Carlos Santana going back a few years ago. Maybe Ozuna can be the new Santana, but hopefully more productive than Santana with the bat to Oneil Cruz, or at least that's my optimistic look at it. I mean, the negatives of this, Kutch not coming back, is it going to stop the Pirates from getting another bat? What does Ozuna, how's he going to be off the field, stuff like that? Those are negatives, but they do, get canceled out by the positives. And I do think that some of this stuff these negatives will pass by and we'll forget about it and look at the positives here. Overall, I give a solid A for this move for Ben Cherington today. A rarity in the Pittsburgh Pirates lineup, a power right-handed bat. Like I said earlier today, something we haven't seen since, you can argue, Jose Alvarez. Maybe if you want to squint, the early days of Jung Ho Gong before his injury and off-the-field issues. It's been a long time coming for the Pirates to have a guy that anytime he steps up to the plate from the right-handed batter's box, you could be seeing a ball fly into the Pirates' bullpen, which is the back bullpen in left center field. You can see something going, deep into the gap, even over the wall at that 410 mark, into the rotunda down the left field line. So it's been a long time coming, an addition like this for the Pirates. And the people say, oh, look, another 1-year rental for a guy on a retirement tour. At least this time, I believe Ozuna does have a legit shot of this not just being, I'm here to get some cash and then go into retirement here. He can be a legit piece of this lineup and help the Pirates finally get back to the postseason. At least that is all of our hopes right now. So the Ozuna signing, in my book, if it is the last big move, it caps off a hell of an offseason for the Pittsburgh Pirates, one that we have been expecting and downright starving for them to have for quite some time, but better late than never, at least here for the Bucs. Where they go from now, it's hard to say. Are they still in on the third baseman from the Astros, Isaac Paredes? It's hard for me to envision him coming to Pittsburgh now, unless it's a high salary guy going out the door, a guy like a Mitch Keller or something like that. There has been some rumors Joey Bart could be in that deal, but he's only making, I think, at most, $4 million, somewhere in that range. So we will see. The next thing I think you will see the Pirates make, it's been a long issue for them this offseason. They have yet to fix. They need a lefty for the starting rotation. Rumors are a reunion between Jose Quintana and the Pittsburgh Pirates is getting more and more likely. So maybe we'll see if that comes here in the coming days, maybe even the coming hours, because spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers for the Pirates, they report here in 2 days. You got the first position player group that comes in 6 days. Paul Skeens, matter of fact, a video down in spring training at Pirate City. Paul Skeens, he has already showed up to get to work for spring training. Of course, he, as a part of the World Baseball Classic, he needed to be there a little bit earlier, but tells you about the drive he has. And you see a couple of other pitchers there. Jared Jones spotted there. I think even Braxton Ashcraft, all of those guys already down there getting work in at Pirate City. Henry Davis, I think that's Connor Griffin right there, who's taking BP from Paul Skeens. So baseball, it's coming back, people. Super Bowl is past us. Baseball is next up on the menu, and it is here. And the Pirates giving us maybe a dessert on the offseason. And it was a very good one in my opinion. So we will see what comes of it. Excited. Can't believe I'm saying that I'm actually looking forward to watching every single game of a Pittsburgh Pirates season this year. But hell, here we are. Let's go Bucs, baby. Let me know what you guys think of the Marcell Ozuna signing in the comments. We're going to switch up gears here in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to football. In the meantime, 7 of you in here right now, welcome to the live stream. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, like, share, leave a comment, just like some normal viewers here. Flacco, my dad, Concepts, you guys stopping by here on this Monday evening after Super Bowl weekend. Got a couple of comments in here from you guys. Concepts in here. Some comments on the halftime show. Very controversial. The which halftime show was better. Saw a little bit of both. But yeah, I mean, outstanding productions on both sides, in my opinion. Super Bowl convinced me we need another D lineman early, says Concepts. Definitely, that wasn't ass thumping last night. That was BTA, belt to ass, the Seattle Seahawks defense on that New England Patriots offense last night. I mean, geez. We thought, that the Patriots were beatable. It would need Drake May to put on a Superman cape for them to win. But, I mean, geez, he looked like he was shell-shocked out there. And that offensive line could not protect anything last night. So, wow. I mean, congrats to the Seahawks. That's where I wanted to go next. I'll get back to your comments here in a moment, I promise. But do want to get this out of the way here. Our final top story here from the weekend. Then we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news. The Super Bowl, like you guys are talking about, was last night. Thank you to the Seahawks, keeping the Patriots at 6 Super Bowl wins. So we remain tied with the Patriots for most Super Bowl wins all time. Also, the Seahawks, talking about how great their defense was last night. Remember, the Steelers, they were one Caleb Johnson, kickoff return gaff away from potentially beating the Seahawks. So, I mean, wow, makes you really give a different perspective as to how good early in the seasons that Steelers team may be. Also, with Drake May losing, Big Ben, he remains the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. Some other things from the Super Bowl, Lynn Swann there got recognized as a Super Bowl MVP. They had a whole pregame ceremony for the MVPs. And then the Seahawks, winning. What do you think DK Metcalf was thinking watching that game last night? That's pretty crazy for him, but that's not what I want to talk about as a whole. Super Bowl was fun to watch last night, even though it was pretty boring by, halftime. That's not what I wanted to talk about, though. Instead, some things going on with Pittsburgh Steelers veterans, and are they going to be back? Are they not going to be back? Those are some questions being posed right now. I believe Radio Row was where all, who's who of MLB insiders or NFL insiders, and that's where they all were situated over the past week. And there was chit chat about Aaron Rodgers, and you had Tom Pelissero of NFL Network on his show, The Insiders, saying that Aaron Rodgers is seriously considering a return to the Steelers in 2026. And the quote from Pelissero, exactly what he exactly said, the odds are increasing that Aaron Rodgers returns to the Steelers next season. And he has had, Rodgers, multiple conversations with new head coach Mike McCarthy. McCarthy said that in his press conference. I'm sure since then they have been in touch often. So looks like we are saddling up for another Aaron Rodgers season, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, hopefully this isn't something that gets drawn out like in the past. What we had last year, Adam Schefter, again, on the Pat McAfee show today, doubled down with the Aaron Rodgers returning, stigma out there. saying the Pittsburgh Steelers would absolutely love to have Aaron Rodgers back. Change that to Art Rooney II and Mike McCarthy. They would love to have Aaron Rodgers back. I think if it's those two, and that's going to be it as to how Rodgers is going to return here. Should he want to return? I mean, still the possibility that Rodgers could retire. Maybe he says, hey, we made the playoffs my last year. I played pretty well for most of it. Maybe I just ride off into the sunset here. But you got two of the NFL's top insiders saying that the Steelers want him back, and odds are increasing. So get ready. 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers suiting up under center for the Steelers. No Will Howard, no Malik Willis, free agent addition, anything like that. So it looks like we're going to ride Aaron Rodgers till the wheels truly fall off here. And then even then, we'll try to push that car a little bit further down the road. It'll be his 22nd season in the NFL for Aaron Rodgers if he would return. Absolutely insane. But he's not the only one that questions about the future are being talked about. Cam Hayward, he yesterday as well had, I believe this was during the afternoon, he had a strange GIF posted to Twitter. This right here from Hayward. It's some sort of book closing. Not sure what the hell is going on with the book and why it's smoking or has some sort of magic voodoo stuff going on here. But Cam Hayward, book closing, can mean anything. Does it mean, closing the book on my historic, most likely Hall of Fame career? Could it mean closing the book on the Mike Tomlin era of the Steeler, closing the book on a book that I just read during Super Bowl week? What does it mean for Cam Hayward here? Sick of this, player stuff where you gotta, try to figure out what exactly they mean, this cryptic stuff. Patrick Queen just had something like that a few weeks ago, going back to when McCarthy was hired. So who the hell knows anymore? If I had to guess, right now, both of them are going to be back. Hayward spoke highly of Mike McCarthy during the lead up to the Super Bowl. And, even though he doesn't have any guaranteed money on his contract, he does value his legacy. And I think after the production he had last season, if he is going to play football in 2026, it is going to be nowhere else other than Acrisure Stadium for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think Hayward's going to be back. I think the same thing about Rodgers. Just like I said, hopefully, I'm praying at least that this isn't any sort of thing where we have to wait up until, July or June again for Rodgers to make a decision here. Like, get a deal done so we know how to attack the draft and know whether or not we need to potentially take a flyer on a quarterback. Like, let's get you wrapped up here before free agency so we can know, get your insight on what free agents you may want here. Just please do not let this be a long, dreary, drawn-out offseason where every day we come on here talking about the same things. Is Rodgers going to come back or is he not? Is Hayward going to come back? Is he not? Is Hayward going to hold out for money just like he did before the first preseason game last year or not? Who the hell knows? Just please figure it out. You want to play for McCarthy or not? That's all that I'm hoping for in this situation, that they make up their minds and commit to the season before things really kick up here in the NFL offseason. And by the way, the tag or the dates now, key dates for the NFL from the 17th of this month to March 3rd. That'll be the franchise tag window. We saw former Steeler George Pickens in a report. He apparently will be getting the franchise tag from the Dallas Cowboys, according to reports. We'll see how well that works out for you there, Dallas. March 9th through the 11th, that is when the free agency negotiation window opens. And then on March 11th at 4 p.m., that's when free agency begins. I'm sure we will be on here at that time breaking all the news that comes in to kick off free agency. April 23rd and 25th. That is the NFL draft in Pittsburgh. Hoping that Hayward and Rodgers, at the very latest, have made their decisions by then. That way they can maybe, go out on stage at the draft in Pittsburgh, get a nice ovation. I'm sure fans would appreciate that. We'll see what the Steelers do, but some more questions and speculations and reports about the futures of Aaron Rodgers and Cam Hayward, mostly Rodgers. Those came out again over the weekend. I think they're both going to be back, and it's going to be what we thought it was when they hired Mike McCarthy. We're going to run it back. Same Mike, just different philosophies, and this Mike is a little bit older, so can tell I'm enthusiastic about that. I'm sure all of you watching this right now are as well. Back here to the comment section before we move on from this. Some more talk about last night's Super Bowls here. Indeed, concepts. Darnold's redemption was awesome. Proved the whole league wrong. Definitely makes you wonder how the Steelers could have been if Darnold was our quarterback. Remember, Steelers had that opportunity. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, clearly moving on from those guys. You only drafted a 6th-round rookie and Will Howard. You could have had Sam Darnold if you really, really wanted to, but nope. Steelers pass. He's a Super Bowl champion, and that's not like me saying that if Darnold would come here, he would have been, a Super Bowl champion, that he would have been how he was up there in Seattle, but would have been something exciting to talk about for the Steelers. That's for sure here. Super Bowl convinced me that we could have beat both teams, LOL. I mean, looking at how the Patriots were, and they had a really Mickey Mouse cupcake run up to that. They had, the easiest strength of schedule in the regular season. They played the Chargers with no offensive line and a Justin Herbert who always chokes in the playoffs. They then beat the Houston Texans, which CJ Stroud, their defense looked legit in that game, Houston, but CJ Stroud showed who CJ Stroud was. He's the same guy that was trying to give away the game to the Steelers so damn bad. And then you had that snow game against the Broncos and no Bo Nix. So really, really cupcake run up to that Super Bowl for the Patriots. And I think it's safe to say the real Patriots team was who we saw when the Steelers had them turn the ball over 5 times. That's the real New England Patriots in my book. And then, the Seahawks. Like I said, you were one Caleb Johnson kickoff. Why didn't he go back and recover it gaff away from potentially beating that group? It probably would have lost, but it would have been way, way closer than that final score indicated. So Steelers definitely could have beaten those Super Bowl teams, but unfortunately, they don't give away the Lombardi Trophy in the regular season here, and they don't, give you like a miniature Lombardi if you beat or came close to beating both teams in the regular season. So Steelers got a lot to figure out, but that does, give you a pause like, this team is far off, but maybe not as, miles and miles long far off from competing as what we may think here. But in Aaron Rodgers re-signing could change that. We can kick field goals in 1 touchdown. Yeah, felt like a Thursday night Steelers-Browns game, to be honest. Chris Boswell out there to kick another field goal, and then finally, late in the game, it's probably garbage time at that point with the Steelers down. We scored another touchdown. So, yeah, definitely felt like a snooze fest, especially by the second half. After, the halftime show, I could care less about that game. Look, I'm yawning talking about it right now, damn near. And also, to answer your question, or if there was a question earlier, questions, what halftime show was better? Can I go in with a rebuttal here? How about the pregame little concert that Green Day put on? One of my favorite bands, played all the hits, American Idiot, Holiday, which is my personal favorite, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I'd rather have had those guys go back out on the field and play again. I was rocking out to that stuff. Some other comments in here. Concepts, normal viewers, nothing normal about us. I leave it as a compliment. I mean it as a compliment. We're all sort of normal, a little nutty, but normal when it comes to talking about our Pittsburgh sports. I like to think we keep it even-headed and rational for the most part. Some other comments here. You guys going all in on this all on this halftime show talk, stuff like that. Concepts here. I want Rodgers back, but I also understand I may be the only one. It's just 42-year-old Rodgers. You saw what he was at the height of his powers when he would tap into that 4-time MVP stuff. But also when the bad Rodgers was out there, I mean, it was just absolutely ugly, and it felt like Old Yeller needing to be put out of misery here. But I mean, I don't know. I'm conflicted. Does the team like Rodgers? Was he the consummate teammate and professional? Definitely not the guy that you heard from New York or the end times of Green Bay. Yeah. Did he show flashes of some of the best quarterback play we've seen since 7? Yes. But also, I mean, he showed his age, and he's going to be another year older, and, looked really banged up when he would take those hard hits, and the hits are only going to get harder as he gets older here. So I'm hoping that the Steelers, make the right move here. If he comes back, we'll try to look at the positives, but I would like to, move along in a different direction here. Mike McCarthy, you brought him in. Yeah, you want to win now, and Rodgers would probably give you the best option to win now again. But also McCarthy, quarterback guru and developer, would love to get a young guy in there. A Malik Willis, a Will Howard. I hope to God, not a day 1 or day 2 draft pick, but rather start seeing some more young guys than just Rodgers, and see if McCarthy is a quarterback whisperer like what we have been led to believe here. I'll take Rodgers back if he comes with Davante Adams. Davante Adams, he is going to be staying there in L.A. with the Rams, and I would love to have Davante Adams, don't get me wrong, but Steelers, they really seem like the type of team that's going to have 2 highly paid wide receivers here. I'll believe that when I see it here. Would be awesome, not going to lie, but I think draft is my first preference here in addressing the wide receiver issue. Or if Con can get us Justin Jefferson or Brian Thomas Jr. For some reason, Brian Thomas Jr. is popping up again in trade discussions. I guess that's a contract thing. Justin Jefferson, that would be interesting. Are they going to really go with a full-blown reset there in Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy looking just absolute ass last year? We'll see. I would like the Steelers to at least make a phone call, but that's going to cost you a first-round pick, and I doubt it. I doubt it. If I doesn't announce a pick, I'm not watching the draft. I would love to announce a pick, but we'll see how I do in that crowd. Nearly 500,000 people going to be on the north side of Pittsburgh in downtown. That is going to be jam-packed. I'd be lucky to get within 10 miles of the city limits without hitting any sort of log jam there. Would love to do it, but we'll see here. Mini Lombardi would be as funny as heck, like it's a troll. Yeah, I mean, you get a little foam Lombardi trophy here. You beat the team that participated in the Super Bowl, and you nearly beat the team that won the Super Bowl. Here's your little participation trophy. Flacco here, one last comment for the time being. Green Day has always been one of my favorite groups, Green Day and Primus. Yeah, I mean, Green Day hit its popularity, when I was, a child, but growing up listening to them, I mean, I probably got a whole bunch of their songs on my phone. I would play them live on stream right now if I wouldn't get copyright struck, but it's nice to see that they're, still kicking at a high rate. Old stuff, new stuff, they're still batting a pretty good average is Green Day. Like one of their new songs, One-Eyed Bastard, I think is one of their new songs. I like 311, another group I liked a lot. Yep. Lots of good stuff. Green Day, Linkin Park, another good one. Of course, The Killers is a good one. My sister is on a big Mr. Brightside listening to it 24/7 kick right now. So, yeah, love all those, bands that I was brought up listening to. 7 of you in here right now on this Monday. The big news here today Pittsburgh Pirates making one last big addition, at least what I believe is their last big addition of the offseason, that being Marcell Ozuna agreeing to a 1-year, $12 million deal. Brings a right-handed power bat here to the Bucs. Before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the evening here, I want to real quick take a quick stroll here through Twitter, see if there's any last-second new stuff that we need to get into before we wrap up with some loose-end Pittsburgh sports stories. MLB Network, they've officially posted their mock lineup for the Pirates. Spencer Horwitz leading off in left field. Brandon Lau at second base, batting second. Brian Reynolds in the 3-hole in right field. Ryan O'Hearn, cleanup in left field. Marcell Ozuna, the DH, at number 5. O'Neal Cruz at the 6th spot in center field. Nick Gonzalez at shortstop. Jared Triolo at third base. Joey Bart catching. At bottom 3, still skeptical for the time being. I do think it gets a massive boost when Connor Griffin eventually gets added into the mix there, and who knows? I'm hoping that out of the 4 catcher logjam the Pirates have right now, they got Joey Bart, Henry Davis, Endy Rodriguez, Rafael Flores. I'm hoping one of those 4 becomes a everyday serviceable big league bat, and that they take control of the catcher position. And then after that, really one guy you got as a question mark. That's Jared Triolo at third base, but where he lacks in the bat, he makes up twice with the glove there. So that's a solid lineup for the Bucs. Am I going to say a National League Central Division lineup winning lineup for the Pirates? I'm not going to say that. You still got the Brewers, even though they made a trade today. We'll get to that in a minute. And most notably the Chicago Cubs adding Alex Bregman. You still got those guys to worry about. Cincinnati Reds also, they got a little better. They didn't really subtract from their roster at all, but they added Eugenio Suarez. It's going to be tightly contested. The NL Central, I feel. Is it a division-winning lineup for the Bucs yet? Depending on if certain guys bounce back, if certain guys continue their production, maybe. But is it a wild card contending team? That is an absolute yes, in my opinion. So we shall see if the Bucs are going to be able to finally get back to the postseason, and if we can maybe have a Bucktober for the first time since I was a child here. Would absolutely love that, and it would bring a small ray of sunshine to a bleak past, half decade of Pittsburgh sports, maybe even a little bit more than that here. See, is there anything else going on right now with anything? Apparently, one betting site, FanDuel, they just opened up their Super Bowl odds for next season. Pittsburgh Steelers, their Super Bowl odds for next year, plus 10,000. That is ahead of the Cleveland Browns by one spot. The Browns are at 12,500 plus odds, but the Steelers behind the Jackson Dart, Cam Scatabo-led New York Giants, they're at plus 7,500. So Steelers got a lot of ground to make up if they are going to be viewed with any seriousness in this first year of Mike McCarthy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going to start wrapping up tonight's show here on the channel. I want to thank you all again for stopping by this morning for the breaking Marcell Ozuna news, and also thank you for coming back this evening. Going to wrap up the show here with some Pittsburgh Penguins news to kick off the extra Pittsburgh sports news. The extra Penguins news here from the day. Not much on them, of course. They are off right now. I'm sure most of the team is back in their hometown, or maybe even taking a little vacation right now with the Olympic breaks. Not a break, however, for some Penguins who are going to be representing their country in the Olympics. Yesterday, Sidney Crosby predictably and unsurprisingly named captain once again of Team Canada. People were wondering, is it finally going to be a passing of the torch from Crosby to a guy like Connor McDavid or Nate McKinnon? Nope. Still, 38 years old, Crosby, until he is retired. And even then, that will be a maybe. He will be Captain Canada here for the Canadians. I wish Sid nothing but the best in the tournament, but respectfully, Team USA needs it. Team USA's captain, who we will be following for the Olympics here on the channel. Team USA's captains, Austin Matthews as the C, alternates, Charlie McAvoy, Matthew Tkachuk. They had some solid line pairings the other day, I saw too. Also for the Penguins, getting some captainship in the Olympics, Erik Karlsson, he will be an alternate captain for Team USA, which I keep saying it, Team USA, sneaky bets for this Olympic Games. They have got one hell of a roster that many people are sleeping on because all the attention is on USA and Canada and why the hell Russia isn't in the Olympics. Also, former Penguin Mikael Granlund, he will be an alternate captain, or no, excuse me, he will be the captain for Team Finland. Imagine that, Granlund, a Penguin at the low point of his career. Then he goes to Anaheim and I think Dallas, and he's with the Sharks now, I believe. And Granlund looks like a player reborn right now and resulted in him getting the C for Finland. Moving back into baseball one more time here in the extra Pittsburgh sports news, I did mention a few moments ago that the division rival of the Bucs, the Milwaukee Brewers, they made a trade as well today. This was during the morning live stream on the Marcell Ozuna news when we first found out about it. The Brewers selling off third baseman Caleb Durbin, as well as a couple of flip-flopping MLB AAA players and a draft pick. Those go to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for left-handed pitcher Kyle Hamilton, left-handed pitcher Shane Drohan, and a second baseman a left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, left-handed pitcher Shane Drohan, and second baseman David Hamilton. I think I said Hamilton was a pitcher there, but the Brewers, they sell off their starting third baseman, a guy who bounces around their infield, and then they went out and added a solid left-handed pitcher, and Kyle Harrison could be a rotation guy for them, another underrated pitcher in Drohan, and then another utility guy in David Hamilton. Don't want to call it a loss in the trade for the Brewers here, because they always find a way to make these trades that no one talks about, and then it turns out to be, oh, Harrison's like a Cy Young guy for them. Hamilton is one of the best utility men in baseball. It'll be like some stuff like that, because the Brewers, they always do these little moves that the Pirates try to make, and they do them flawlessly. So we'll see how that turns out for the Brewers, but right now, valuing some pitching they lost this offseason, getting some of that back, and also adding a utility guy that can bounce all around the field for them. Other Pirates news today, the big one of a guy being added to the team, right-handed pitcher Christian Curtis. He is getting invited to the Pirates Major League camp. That probably would have been the biggest Pirates news today. Curtis, 23, last year was with Double-A Altoona and High-A Greensboro, had a 3.90 ERA in 27 appearances, started 26 of those games. So we'll see what he has to offer here in spring training. And also the last thing on the Pirates, talked about him a good bit here today. Happy birthday yesterday to the big tree, Jared Triolo. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news tonight, ladies and gentlemen, just one extra news story related to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns, their whole coaching saga continues. They hired Todd Monken to be their new head coach. That then led to the departure of defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz late last week. Now, this was yesterday from Tom Pelissero. The Browns have interviewed their own safeties coach and their own linebackers coach, Ephraim Banda and Jason Tarver. for their defensive coordinator job. So it looks like the Browns are going to be staying in-house for their new defensive coordinator hire. Hopefully this is, in this case, something like Jim Schwartz was the mastermind and he was playing some flawless chess with the personnel he was given, and maybe these guys here can not have as much success against the Steelers as one Jim Schwartz did. We can only hope here. And I think that is just about going to do it tonight on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Wrapping up here. Last few comments. THP here. Welcome, THP. That game last night had me stop drinking halfway through and went to bed. I mean, yeah, you could have gone to bed early after that game last night. I mean, halftime, especially, a couple drives into that third quarter, you knew which way the game was going. The rest was just academic. The Patriots scoring all their points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it was boring. Probably one of the most boring Super Bowls, I think, since the 13-10 Patriots-Rams Super Bowl from a decade ago, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, bit of a snoozer. Definitely could have used an exciting Super Bowl to have us talk about something today. But hey, the Bucs picked us up with their big news. Who would have thought that we'd be coming on here today, day after the Super Bowl, talking mostly about the Pittsburgh Pirates? But hey, good on them. Ben Cherington making moves. Here comes the money. Last comment here from THP. Excited for Canada and a USA possible showdown. Games start Wednesday or Thursday. I believe games start on Wednesday. I think I have the three big teams I want to keep track of. I have their schedules right here. Let me, 1 second. Let's go. Where'd I have it? Right here. Team Canada, their first game is Thursday, just like Team USA. Canada, they play Czechia at 10:40 in the morning on Thursday. Team USA later that day at 3:10 against Latvia. Games do start on Wednesday. That is when Team Sweden, Team Ricard Raquel and Eric Carlson, they play at 3:10 in the afternoon against Sweden, or against Italy, excuse me. So that should be a easy W for Sweden. Not sure they're much of a powerhouse. That game will probably be on here to my right, or at least the end of it, when we are live coming up here on Wednesday. So definitely keeping track of Sweden and Canada, Finland a little bit. I think it's going to come down to a Four Nations final where those four teams are going to play each other again. You'll have Sweden and Finland and USA and Canada. At least that's the ideal way that goes down. Concepts here. Did Wotherspoon prove we need to draft or Witherspoon, excuse me. Mind on hockey. I read that as Wotherspoon, defenseman for the Penguins. Did Witherspoon prove we need to draft a slot corner early? Safety like Imanwari would be nice too. Agreed. I definitely do think you are going to see one of those two things in the first three draft picks that the Steelers make. Ideally, it'll be a guy that can do both, an Imanwari, Witherspoon type guy. I do think that is going to be one of the earlier picks. Definitely, they will address that by day two. I don't see them going out to the free agency market to bring in a guy like that unless they say, hey, really got some nice production out of Brandon Echols. Maybe we give him a second look here next year. They don't. I would like to see that. As a matter of fact, I like to see that regardless of Echols, because who knows how long Echols is going to be your guy here. So I would like to see that. Wide receiver round one, that is the only thing I want in life. Please, from my lips to the football god's ears, let that be the case. Let us get a Denzel Boston, a Mekhi Lemon, something like that, so we can finally stop talking about the lack of a wide receiver two on this team. And then after that, I don't care. All filters are off. Do what you want. But yeah, that would be a nice piece to add. That, D-line, and wide receiver. If I had to make a prediction or at least a wish as to what the Steelers' first three draft pick positions are, D-line, safety, slot corner, something like that, or and a wide receiver. Like Echols too, did show he's limited, but deserves a roster spot for sure. Yep. it's going to be odd to see how the Steelers do it. I mean, new coaching staff, are they going to bring back, run it back with the secondary that had some guys step up? Eccles, Pierre, think even Asante Samuel might get, a small deal to come back, seeing what you got from him after coming off that back surgery. But we'll see here how everything shakes out. I would, be able to say some of this stuff with damn near definitive tone, but Tomlin's out, McCarthy's in, even though they are pretty much the same coach when it comes to, career success and all that. How they construct teams, I don't know. It's going to be something new we get to look forward to here this offseason. So, all right. I think that is going to wrap things up here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Going to try to, keep these live streams now that we're into the offseason here for football. News cycle tends to, slow down a little bit, or at least here for the next little while until, free agency and the NFL combine and draft and all that picks up. So going to try to keep things around an hour and 15 minutes here for live streams. So that's going to wrap it up here tonight. Want to thank you all for, again, joining me back here this morning. Thank God it wasn't an entertaining Super Bowl last night to where everyone was drowsy and tired. We actually had a little bit of energy because we didn't really care all that much staying up late for the Super Bowl. So instead, Pirates. They were our coffee this morning, exciting us with that Marcell Ozuna acquisition. So that carried up most of our attention today, and it might for the next few days, to be honest. So it was a fun Monday. Want to thank you all for joining me again, whether you were here this morning, this evening, or both. One last time, if you're new here to the channel, please hit that subscribe button on your way out and turn on notifications as well. Gained 4 new subscribers, I believe, or 2 to 4 new subscribers. I forget where we were with the new Pirates news here this morning. So I appreciate those new subscribers that hit the button. Also, on your way out, like this live stream, share this live stream. If you have any last second thoughts on the Steelers, Penguins, or Pirates, leave those in the comment section. I will leave your comment a like and a response, most likely. And go check out SCSR60 later tonight and give the channel a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Steel City SR. Thank you all. Thank you to Ben Cherington for putting together an entertaining Pittsburgh Pirates offseason, assuming that he is done now. Thank you to the Pittsburgh Steelers for giving us something to talk about this offseason. Mike McCarthy's hire and how this team's going to be constructed moving forward. And thank you to the Pittsburgh Penguins for giving us a very pleasantly surprising good season. And now we take it into the Olympics here. Those should be fun to cover as well. Have a good rest of your Monday night, everyone. See you guys. Wanted to point this out here before we head off. Meant to do this. As for schedule, the rest of the week, may be live tomorrow. Depends on what news comes in. We might be live tomorrow, might not. Definitely will be live on Wednesday, day before, or day of the opening of the Olympic hockey games. And then Thursday, there will be no news live stream like this. We will instead, at around 3:00, we will go live for Team USA versus Team Latvia. Every Team USA game here in the Olympics we'll try to be live for. So that's how the schedule is looking for the rest of the week. So on that note, again, thank you all. Subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share, comment. Have a good rest of your Monday night. See you back here maybe tomorrow, but definitely Wednesday. Peace.